The opinions expressed on the Custody Queen Show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal, professional legal advice. The persons discussed are fictional and not based on actual clients.
Thought it was love, had kids in between. You can count on us, we're the Custody Queens. Yeah, you can count on us, we're the Custody Queens.
Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we have the pleasure of hosting the Gonzalez brothers, known as TC Broders. We have Jose and Charlie. So good morning, everybody, and Jose and Charlie.
Good morning, thanks for having us.
These brothers are making some waves in the futsal community, and we are so happy to have them. Please welcome Jose and Charlie Gonzalez.
Thank you for being here. So real quick, for anyone that doesn't know, what's futsal?
So futsal pretty much is a five-a-side. Obviously 4 players on the field, 1 goalie. It's played on a court, similar to like a basketball court. Yeah, it's pretty much fast-paced indoor.
The biggest difference that I, as the layman, would say is the technical component. And it's something that I wish I would have gotten my kids into earlier, because the technical component, it is so transparent. So you can't just rely on your athleticism playing like sometimes regular soccer you can, but it is pretty phenomenal to watch. I've actually had the pleasure of watching these two brothers play at a national tournament in Vegas where they won it. And out of all the games I've probably ever been to, it was the most intense and the most fun. So we'll get into all of that in a little bit.
All right, so before we get into that, let's do our CQ talk box. This is essentially Kristen and I have an icebreaker where we ask a bunch of questions to kind of get into things and just make everyone feel comfortable.
Or uncomfortable.
Kristen is very good at making you feel uncomfortable, so if she makes you feel uncomfortable, you are at home here, okay? No, this is an easy one. So if you could master any new skill instantly, what would it be?
Any new skill instantly. Is this related to sport or is
life.
It just in general?
You can just take that question and go with it.
I would go ahead and let me see. Any new skill instantly. I would probably have to say. That's a hard one. That's
Do you want us to come back to you?
Yes, you can come back
Charlie.
to me.
All right, Charlie.
Well, I'm really adventurous. I like to be out there. I'd say I'd stick to something to do with sport. I used to skate. I grew up skating.
Ice or roller?
No, skateboarding.
Skateboarding.
Yeah. And for me, it was either between soccer or skating. I would say if I had to, master a new skill, it'd be skateboarding.
Okay. I'm going to stick with the same one. I think that Sam's been asking me this question for a couple of years now, but I'm not deviating from my usual, and that's I would love to be able to be at multiple places at the same exact time. With 3 kids, very active kids, and my family, and then, this little thing, I have a career on the other side. I would love to be able to be at 3 different places at the same time. Although I think I do a decent job, but I still physically can't be in 2 different places.
Right.
All right, Sam, what about you?
Pottery. Honestly. So recently I was deep in Instagram and I ordered like a pottery kit, and it's a no-bake kit. And like I literally thought it would be so easy because the people online made it look so easy. And it is hard, I'm here to tell you. And I just
Did you buy like the...
It's called potted. And yeah, it comes with clay, but it's no-bake clay. So you mold, like you can make like a little candle hold. I'll make you something.
But what about the spinny thing?
No, you don't have to do that. But that's what I want to master. I'm starting a new hobby. And that's something I would like to instantly be able to do.
I just love your answers. Yeah, no, I took Riley to color me mine, and I am the least artistic person, I think, on the planet with respect to drawing, painting, anything. And Riley's actually pretty artistic. But I just realized I never went back and picked up the things we made. And I'm pretty sure I paid $100 for a coffee mug.
Those aren't cheap.
Yeah. I never went back. All right, Jose, coming back to you.
I mean, I'm gonna have to say something related to sport as well. I've always been into martial arts, UFC.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I like to work out. I work out on a daily basis. So if I have to pick, I'll probably say something with related to martial arts. So UFC.
All right. It's always a good skill to have.
Yeah.
I think that might be the route that Hudson's going to go down. All right, Sam, take us to the next.
All right, so one more quick question before we kind of get into all things futsal. Who is your most memorable teacher and why?
Or mentor. I think we could add like mentor into that.
I would have to say my junior college.
Okay.
He is. We went to Taft College, and actually that's one of the reasons why we came up with TC. That stands for Taft College.
Oh wow.
Not only did he showed us the sport, but he really walked us through the outside of the sport, like live, and made us stronger in that sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. That also just kind of is what Kristen and I always talk about, is how great sports are for people and how applicable really a lot of the skills you learn in sports are to your real life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, there's such a mental component to sports that correlates with real life.
Right.
And you can have someone who is very, very physically fit and really good, but they don't have the mental toughness component. And that you see that with people's real lives all the time.
Right.
You gotta have thick skin to really make it in this world, or else the self-doubt and the sleepless nights and the anxiety, I mean, it can really take over your life.
Yeah.
You gotta get to a point where you're like, I'm me, I'm confident in who I am, and you know, that's all that matters. I was going to say something else, but we're going to keep this PG.
What about you, Kristen?
You know, I had a coach in high school, a soccer coach, and his name was Trevor. He might be listening. He was very, very hard on me, and but he taught me so much about my inner strength. I mean, he always says I was one of his favorite players of all time. Him and I, it's funny because now we're looking at sharing our kids, you know, Instagram posts and highlights. And I don't think I realized what he was doing for me at the time. But, you know, looking back, I think he's really the one coach that made me look inside myself and say that you can freaking do this.
Yeah.
And I very much appreciate that, Trevor. He's still coaching. I think he coaches for Patio Doors. All right, so we have some questions for Jose and Charlie. And I think we already kind of talked about the difference between futsal and soccer, but explain a little bit more to the viewers, like what the actual differences are.
So obviously, you know, playing futsal, you gotta be, like you mentioned earlier, you gotta be way more technical. You gotta think quicker. You know, you have less time on the ball. You have less seconds to think what your next move is. Whereas in outdoor, you know, you receive the ball, bigger space, you know, more players to play to. Here it's more, if you're not technical, you're gonna lose the ball. If you have a bad touch, you're close to the line, you know the ball is gonna go out, you lose the ball, you know. A lot of movement compared to outdoor where you kind of just stay on your side, you know, just going forward and back. Futsal is more about rotating, knowing when to go forward, knowing when to go back. And like I said, I think being technical is the most important thing.
It's very calculated. Would you say it's about a third or half the size of a normal 11v11 field? I mean,
even smaller, yeah.
I would say, I think that was one of the biggest things that kind of surprised me, even for you guys men playing, is it's a much smaller space. So you're not necessarily running onto the ball. You don't have time. If you have a defender on your back, you don't have time. If you don't know what you're going to do with the ball before you get it, you're screwed. You are exposed very, very quickly if you are not at the level of the rest of your team or your component.
How long are the games?
Usually they do 2 20-minute halves.
But they never stop moving, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Okay, now, are there actual positions?
Yeah, there are. So you have the terms that they use, you know, like the people, the target. They have the alas, and then they have the fixo, which is the defender.
Okay, because they move everywhere.
They move around, yeah.
Like,
yeah, but the other thing too is, like, for futsal, you have to know how to play each position, because there's times where you're gonna end up as a forward or you're gonna end up as a defender, and you can't be like, hey, let's switch when you don't have the ball.
You're just rotating as it goes, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
and are you the target?
I usually play as an ala on the left side. when we play with TC. There's like last tournament in Vegas, our Pivo or Target couldn't make it, so they had me play up there, and I'm not the biggest guy, so it was a little bit tougher for me. But I mean, like I said, you have to know how to play every position.
Yeah, that I've always told my kids that makes you so much more valuable. You know that, Sam. If a college scout is looking at you or a coach is looking at you, if you're limited to one position, your value is only so much. But if you can play multiple positions, your potential is so much more. All right, Jose, what do you play?
I play outdoor. I play as a defender. In futsal, I play the fixo.
Okay, the futsal?
Fixo.
Yeah.
Fixo.
Fixo, yeah.
Fixo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But once again, how Charlie said, we gotta know how to play every position. A lot of times my job is to pretty much, when we have the ball, to create space for the person that's gonna be the skillful one. Which is a lot of times I'm just watching Charlie. If he's on my side, get out, let him create. My job's more to defend.
Yeah, but Jose had the game-winning goal in Vegas.
Wow.
And Charlie, watching Charlie is watching an artist. I was really blown away and very surprised at how fun it was to watch. So if anyone listening, if you have not gone to a futsal game, we have Ontario Reign, we have in San Diego.
San Diego Soccer. Yeah.
And that's where you play, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a couple. Is there any in LA?
Not in LA.
Not LA. Okay, so we have 2 local teams. If you want to go to a pretty affordable family event, I highly, highly recommend. It is a lot of fun. And you don't even have to know anything about soccer to go and enjoy it. But there's no set subbing either. Sam, it's like, tag you're in, tag you're out. And it's very dramatic. Super dramatic.
It's a lot more.
What do you mean?
Every injury is like a life-ending injury. Okay,
Is that part of it?
Yeah, but then they get up and then they smirk, they get the call and then they smirk or murmur something under their breath. But everything is grabbing the ankles, and then they get up and they walk away. And it's almost like a UFC fight, a little bit on a futsal court. There's lots of it's just very dramatic. I don't know how else to explain it.
The thing that goes with that is you have 5 fouls, and if you get the other team does 5 fouls, then you get a PK, shootout, pretty much.
Yeah.
So you're looking for a foul.
Yeah, so it's like a technical foul that you're looking for. Sometimes you might get hit. It's not a bad hit, but you're okay, we're down a goal, and if they get one more foul, then we get a PK. So it's you kind of.
So then you faint.
You kind yeah, it just depends. It depends. We try to avoid it because obviously but when we're down, that's when you got to start looking for those little fouls.
Okay.
But there's definitely some chests getting really close to each other, and the refs, I hope they're getting paid good money.
1 ref, 2 refs?
2.
2. But it is very, very intense. You got to come to a game, Sam. You got to come to a game.
Yeah, no, it sounds fun. I really enjoyed playing indoor. And it doesn't seem like it's the same thing, but
no, it's
the small, fast-paced kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's similar. Indoor, with the
yes,
the
all the way
arena.
around.
Yeah, like Chino.
Yeah. So that's in the league that we play with San Diego. We play indoor, but it's similar. It's futsal and indoor. It's very similar. Obviously, for indoor, you just add 1 more player. That was just more like hockey.
Right.
You sub on the fly, things like that.
Right.
There's no throw-ins.
No throw-ins, yeah.
So with futsal, instead of a throw-in, it's you only have a certain amount of seconds, right?
Yeah,
to kick it in.
3, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, you got to get that doll, put it down. You don't get to look and see who's open, and it can be a turnover pretty quick.
So how many hours in a week do you think you play futsal?
Are you talking about training? Because
just for yourself, whether you're training or training someone else.
I think it depends. We're training kids every day when it comes to small-sided. Now, when we're in season, an indoor during the indoor season, we're pretty much training every day.
Wow.
2 to 4 hours a day.
Multiple hours.
Pretty
a
much.
Day.
But now, when it comes to TZ Broders, our men's team, we kind of train only when we're close to a tournament. So that's different.
Okay.
We just kind of just play competitive tournaments when it comes to that.
And how do you get together a team? You guys just have your core people?
Yes, for our men's team, we have our set people pretty much as because this tournaments that we go to, they're really competitive.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the players that we're playing against. There's players from Mexico, from Brazil,
Wow.
from literally people fly in from Mexico to play a one-day tournament. So it's like,
Wow.
it's super competitive. So we have our set team.
Yeah, and Charlie, you guys just played where you won like $40,000, right?
Yeah,
In a
upland,
final.
yeah. Yeah, and that was indoor. That was more like a 6.
And you guys don't have many people to split that with because there's only a couple on the field.
Yeah, I mean we had
Well,
14.
you got your subs,
Oh, okay.
who are still like huge, important part of the
Yeah.
team.
So how many total? If you have 4 on the field, how many are on the how many are on your team?
So usually for futsal, you want to sub either. So we do lines. It's like if I play on the left side, I have someone I'm subbing with. So it's 2 per line.
Okay.
So I'd go like 2 minutes, and he goes in 2 minutes, and we switch. So it might be 8 to 12 players total.
Because you never stop moving. Like you
It's a
get
fast
tired kind of
pace.
watching, but that's why you want that sub every few minutes, because you can be more explosive. You can, create that separation. I could only imagine, even in great shape, that it would be no way to play a whole game.
Yeah, and I think that's another difference between futsal and outdoor. Where in outdoor, I used to be a winger, so I had to be in shape, running down the line. There's times where like you're not on the ball, you're on the weak side, so you kind of have time to kind of like relax a little bit. You just tucking in. Here in futsal, it's like those 2-3 minutes that you're in, you have to go all out. Because if you fall asleep, they might, split you, turn, and they can score you.
So what's the youngest group that you guys coach for futsal?
Right now, we pretty much have 2019s, 2018s.
So 46-year-olds. Yeah.
And that's more like the development of it, because they're babies. So we're teaching
That's
them like the
so Hudson's a
basics.
2020. Charlie's been getting me
Yeah,
to
Charlie
and-
does the hard work.
yeah, trying to get Hudson out there, and I'm going to. I'm going to make that happen. But he just started playing at the the recreational level, and I said it was 50-50 whether or not he was going to be able to focus and actually, stay on the field, not pick up the ball, not throw it, not, karate chop anyone. These were all my very minimal expectations. But he's had 2 games now, and he has been very, very focused. So he asks me all the time on Tuesday, Thursdays, because my kids train at TC Broders. And he says, Mommy, when I go TC Broders like Brody Rye? And he's ready. But that is they call them the minis, right? Those are the minis? Oh, they are so stinking cute to watch. They are so stinking cute.
So if you're listening and we have piqued your attention regarding futsal, how do they get in contact with you? How do they get a hold of you? How do they start? How do they get their little ones in?
We usually go through our Instagram.
Okay.
It's TC Brothers Academy.
We don't want anyone to get confused and call them brothers, although we have been teasing that they're the Broders.
Broder Brothers.
The Broder
Brothers.
Brothers.
Believe it or not, a lot of the parents, a lot of our friends, teammates, we go by TC, like they go by TC Brothers. So
Yeah.
we're used to it. We show up to tournaments. They're like, "Hey, TC Brothers is here." We're like, "Yeah, we're TC Brothers," but reality is TC Brothers.
And if you guys ever forget, you can DM Sam or myself, and we can make sure that we get you in touch and get you connected to them. And I really can't say enough positive things. I know I talk about soccer and youth sports and, everything that goes into that a lot on our show because I'm so involved. But when you find a mentor for your child, it is so incredibly important to nurture that relationship and to build it, because if your child has someone that they can look up to, that they can learn from, and that can guide them through the process, that is invaluable. And if your child is really good at a sport, you probably have options, and people are messaging, and soliciting your, I always laugh. It's like people are trying to recruit my 7-year-old, and it's funny to me because they're 7.
Your 7-year-old is a star.
And
Shout out to
he
Brody.
doesn't realize the best part of him is he doesn't even have any clue how good he is. But I always say that it's in his blood. It's who he is. We come back from training and he goes and shoots for another hour or 2. He's shooting this morning before school, and I'm like, brush your teeth, bro. But him having that relationship, and he loves both of you. But Jose, it's like, he told me he missed you the other day. And I was like, it's only been, a week. We had another tournament. But having a person like that for your child or your children is so important, especially if you are going through a family law case or a separation where this child or children, they can feel like their entire world has been turned upside down. Finding someone, whether it's, for a different sport or martial arts or a teacher or a tutor or anyone, is so important to nurture that relationship.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point. And Kristen and I always talk about how that's, supposed to be a safe place for your children. It's a very tough thing to go through as an adult. And so if your children are going through that, or even if, you're just having a hard time as, a married couple, having your children in a activity that allows them to kind of unplug and have something truly for themselves outside of school, I know for me made such a difference in my life.
No, I agree 100%. And my parents are still married, but having that discipline and that skill and developing it, I think it makes, it made me who I am today, which you can love me or you can get annoyed by me. It's the persistence, it's the discipline, it's also the tough skin that I think has allowed me to advance in my career. But I try to instill that in my kids every day, that nothing easy, or nothing good comes easy, right? And I always say that hard work will beat out talent when talent is no longer putting in the work, and it's so important to find something that your kids connect with, and even more so with a mentor. Okay, now you have to tell us the story of, I know you said Taft College was TC Broders, but I want you to talk about underneath every logo or sweatshirt. I actually have a TC Broders sweatshirt on with my Cray yoga pants. These are my absolute favorite Lululemon dupe. You can find them on Amazon. I have probably 20 different leggings and the joggers, but they are amazing, and their price point is even better. But under all of my shirts and my hoodies, it says one rule. So explain that, because I actually really love it.
So first off, as I mentioned, TC Broders. TC stands for Taft College. Broders, we had a friend. He was part of Taft College. He's one of our captains, and he wouldn't stop with that word Broders. In Spanish means brother. So it's a slang word for just a friend. Bro. And yeah, pretty much bro. And we just went to a tournament, and we just couldn't decide what to name the team, and we just ended up calling it TC, and then we just added that Broders to the end of it. We performed, and everyone started knowing us as TC Broders, which, funny thing, they thought it was because it was 4 brothers playing in that tournament, but ended up being that's the reason why we named the team TC Broders. After that, we just kept playing tournaments. We've been playing tournaments with this name for more than 10 years.
Wow.
On our men's team, so we're pretty out there in the men's futsal tournaments. And then we got so serious that we started training for it. A lot of players wanted to join our team. We're performing. And then me, of course, I took it to another level, created an Instagram, obviously with the help of my brother. And that's when we started coming up with gear. And, we would, at first, the reason why we came up with that one rule was because the first tournament we would perform, but we wouldn't win. There was money involved, so we were so focused on the money to see when we win, we're gonna do this with the money, and we would never win. Finally, we brought it in, and we're like, hey, there's a problem. We're too focused on something we don't have. So let's focus on us. Let's focus on defending our name first. Focus just on our team. Don't focus or worry about anyone else. So that became the one rule, just focus on ourselves and defend ourselves. That's all that matters. And from there,
and I think it goes just more than that, just obviously our other coach, Andy.
I love Andy, by the way. Huge fan of Andy. Shout out to Andy.
We met him at Taft. That's how we know each other. And, he's like a brother to us, and it's not only on the field, it's also off the field that we worry about, we defend each other no matter what. If there's a problem, I know he has my back. I know Andy has my back. And I'll do the same thing for them, and anyone involved with TC Broders, to the parents, the kids, to the men's players, to the women's, we defend each other no matter what, on and off the field. And I think that's something that kept us, going for more than 10 years.
And I love that because Sam and I are the same way. We've been through thick and thin together. I hired her before she even had her bar results. And everyone knows the story. If you've been following along for years, I hired Sam when she told me she played college soccer.
That's the only reason I got hired.
And
Because it said soccer on my resume.
the second,
You're in.
the second she said that, I thought hard worker, disciplined, gonna show up for me and is not gonna bail and say that, she's got the stomach flu on the morning of a hearing. Sam has been the absolute opposite of that. She truly is my sister as well. But there's something that when you play with people and you know the work that goes into it, you have so much more respect for the people that you bring into your life. And Andy is, I would say Jose, that's, Brody is Jose, and Andy and Charlie are like, Rye, like she will tell me she wants to do better for Andy, or that, Charlie gave her 3 high fives last night. And, coaches, they don't, sometimes you may not realize like the effect that you have of just going a little bit out of your way to let that kid know that they're getting there, or this was better, but it has such a huge effect on these little tiny humans. And sports are so competitive at such a young age that I go back and forth sometimes with that it can be somewhat toxic a little bit, and then the benefit, and I always think the benefit outweighs. But having, again, it goes back to the mentorship, having someone in your kid's life that is going to check on them when they're not feeling well, or say, hey, I know Riley might not have been feeling her best last night, but she showed up, and can you just let her know how proud I am? And then I show her, and it's like you see little waters, in her eye. And I think I literally made her play when she had been throwing up for 2 days. But she showed up, and I think she got megged. And it was waterworks. When you get meg, that means someone passes it between your legs, the ball. And it was waterworks. And so it was a teaching moment.
Why is that the worst thing?
The
second you said that, I instantly was like, I know how she feels. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to like have a teaching moment, like, let you showed up, you did this, you were strong, you supported your team. Like, you might not have had your best game, but you still showed up. And she was like, but Mom, I got megged. And it was by a boy. And
I remember.
And I have never seen her. And of course, I wasn't there that game because Hudson then started throwing up. But she she said that she had to leave because she was completely falling apart. And of course, I'm on the phone going, Jose said no criers. Jose said pull yourself together, and Rye is super tough. But I just want you guys to know how much you guys do for my little humans. And for every coach out there, keep doing what you are doing. Coaching is not for everyone. I am raising my hand. I leave the coaching to the professionals. I tried it for a few years. That's how I paid my way through law school, was coaching club soccer. And I said, these parents are cray. And we all know that I can be a little bit like that sometimes.
No.
But I own it.
All right, well, it sounds like we're out of time for today, unfortunately, but thank you so much for joining us. It was so fun, and make sure you stay tuned for next week. We will have the brothers on again.
And we will be talking more about their careers, Jose and Charlie, and also how they deal with, parents and custody cases going through this transition in this new journey. So if you have any questions, feel free to send them to us as well. But thank you for joining us this morning and every morning on Go Country at 8:30 a.m. on 105. We look forward to seeing you next week. And remember,
Let love rule.